Yay! All right. How's everybody this morning? Pretty good? Good night last night? All right, let's get into it. So, first question for you guys. What excites you about being here in San Diego? Shout it out. Weather? Really? I don't know. I'm from Toronto. This weather's been kind of lackluster for me. I hear it's really warmer back home. Anything else? FinOps? Oh, and what? Tacos? Okay. Food, weather? People? The community? Yes. This has been an amazing conference so far. I've had lots of awesome conversations. Well, we're here to talk to you a little bit about billing as Sterling. So my name's Sarah McMullen. I'm a group product manager for Google Cloud Billing. And I thought I'd give you a little insight into how it is we approach building the tooling we build within Google. It's really interesting when you're kind of immersed into a culture, you really take for granted some things, and then when you kind of step back and look at, oh yeah, that is kind of unique to Google. One of our principles within Google is obviously focusing on the user. We are here to build for the FinOps practitioner. Actually, our engineering, our UX, our product management team, we're all here listening and getting all of these great insights to put into our product, and this is core value for us when we build. Secondly, it's interesting coming from Google, we have products that are mass scale and servicing the entire world. And so oftentimes when we approach building a product, we're thinking about the user at the individual level, but we're also thinking mass scale and how to approach that from a global standpoint. And that's something that's pretty unique to our company, actually. And thirdly, innovation, when we say innovation is core at Google, I'll give you an example because folks here obviously are really interested in optimization of costs. Within our own Google Cloud Billing, when we approach optimization, because we also optimize on our own infrastructure, we often look at costs in the component of software engineering time. We measure the efficiency gains in that. Why? Because our software engineering time is the currency of innovation, and that's how important it is to our company. And so it's a very interesting metric we use, and it shows you just really how innovation is very core within the company. And then lastly, coming at it with infrastructure at scale and servicing the entire world, sometimes mistakes happen, right? And when those mistakes happen, they can sometimes be large, but they can sometimes be small. But I think the important thing within our culture is learning from any of those mistakes. And we have a blameless postmortem culture that every time something happens, we come together as a team. First of all, we come together as a team to fix and solve. And then afterwards, we always reflect and learn and advance on what we've gone through as a group with those challenges. So, we come together across these values and we build FinOps tools that is looking to make sure that your costs are always allocated and that they are 100% optimized and they are properly managed. So we're actually going to go through and walk you through some of the tooling that we have out of the box within Google Cloud Billing. And I'd like to introduce actually Rupa Patel. She's a product manager on my team to walk you through some of the interesting things we have in cost management.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm Rupa. I'm a product manager. I lead the Inform pillar, and that will tell you a lot about how much we care about FinOps. We have the Inform, Operate, and Optimize pillars within our product org. I primarily work on cost visibility and allocation, so that's what I'm going to talk about here today. So ideally, we would give you a live demo, but for now, I'm going to make you dizzy, and you can look at these GIFs, and I can kind of talk you through some of the cost management tools that we have out of the box. So no setup required, what you kind of get out of the box with Google Cloud. So when you think about cost visibility and cost allocation, you really think about what is the core data that I have available to me as a practitioner. So our cost reports UI is a great tool to kind of get you started. In the cost reports UI, you see a couple things, if you can see it clearly here. First and foremost, at the top bar, you can see your month-to-date costs. You can actually filter daily costs, ton of different views, but in this view, you'll see your month-to-date costs. You can also see your forecasted costs up to 12 months. And then in that graph there, you can see trends, cost trends. How are my costs performing day over day, month over month. So you can actually see this in a bar chart visualization, a line chart visualization, et cetera, with the forecasted line that shows you your forecasted spend as well. In the table below, you can actually see a ton of granular data. You can see service data, and you can go as low as the SKU as well. But what you really will care about is the right-hand side filter panel. On the right-hand side filter panel, you can not only filter by your invoice, but you can also filter by usage date. And you can get really, really granular in filtering by labels. Most of us are familiar with tag dictionaries and label dictionaries. And the great thing you can do is also get an understanding of your credits, discounts, et cetera. So with the discounts and promotions and others columns, you can see your negotiated discounts, you can see your out of the box, flat rate discounts, et cetera. And as a large enterprise customer, those things are very important. So cost reports really allows you to gain visibility into your cost trends, your cost drivers, and how your spend is forecasted. So you can, export this data into CSV. You can see it here in console, and it's also available in BigQuery, which we'll talk a little bit about as well. One of my favorite pages in our UI is the cost breakdown. So the cost breakdown UI really is a waterfall overview of your costs. You can think of it as a little bit of a high-level grocery bill. But the unique thing about our cost breakdown UI is, and this GIF is going so fast, but you can actually break down your costs and see that waterfall by list cost, your negotiated savings, your committed use discounts, which are similar to reserved instances, sustained use discounts, promotions. You can see your cost subtotals, tax, et cetera. But the interesting thing is you can actually break this down by usage date. So you don't have to wait until the end of the month to see your credits. You can actually see your credits on a daily basis, a weekly basis, et cetera. So the filter panel kind of stays with you throughout our UI, and you can see your savings both in flat rate costs and also percentages. So really, really great tool, especially in this economic climate, to see some of your savings across the board and be able to break that down by different filters, including projects or services, SKUs, et cetera. And labels, if you're breaking down labels for cost centers. I have a couple more here, tools to share with you guys on cost visibility and allocation. And of course, budgets and alerts is going to be top of mind for everyone here. So budgets and alerts really helpful for avoiding cost surprises. We recently this month launched folder level scope for budgets. So a really great tool here if you want to set up any custom time range and be able to actually set a budget on your billing account, your org folder, labels. We have a ton of other scopes as well. And the notable thing is you can actually set up rules to trigger alerts. So not only will you get them out of the box for emails, but if you set up a pub sub topic, you can also get them programmatically, those notifications programmatically sent to Slack, any of your chat applications, and even actually start setting up automations on your cost management tools like shutting down resources. And that's all things that you can access once you connect to PubSub topics. 2 more slides here on cost management and cost allocation. Pricing, this is super important as you think about what is your current pricing, and all of this data is what is your pricing as of the time you actually look at this UI. If you're using our programmatic pricing export to BigQuery, you will also be able to get a field that says export time, so that's the price that's relevant at the time that you exported. This is contractual pricing related data, but what it's really great to see is your effective price and your effective discount, right? And to be able to actually download that and keep track of that. And by the way, all of these QR codes that you scan, you'll be able to actually get more details on some of these toolings. We also have some great YouTube videos available as well to see some of these UIs in action, or you can catch any of us to give you a live demo later. Lastly, our export to BigQuery. BigQuery is our enterprise-grade data warehouse. It's serverless, and it's extremely scalable. So we offer a couple exports to BigQuery. First and foremost, we offer our standard billing export to BigQuery, which allows you to see your basic cost usage credit data, and the data automatically exports to your data set that you specify. So that data goes ahead and sits in BigQuery, so you can store it and query off of it, standard SQL. You can also take that stored data and export it to Google Sheets, JSON, any sort of standard file format. So our standard export's a really great tool to kind of get yourself started. We have a ton of out-of-the-box queries to get you started on BigQuery for billing. And then we also have our detailed export. Our detailed export allows you to see granular costs, so resource level costs. As you think of Kubernetes, this is containers, namespace, pod level data. Our detailed export is growing in service support as well. We recently launched App Engine and Spanner, detailed resource level costs as well. Pricing export, we talked a little bit about pricing, similar data, and more. So pricing export is a great way to kind of track your enterprise grade prices. I will wrap up shortly. And then we have a lot more on BigQuery to come, so look out for that. We are highly invested in making sure that you have programmatic access to all of your billing costs. And lastly, we're on the steering committee and are proud contributors for the Focus standard. We strongly believe in being able to have a specification that anybody can use to understand Google Cloud data and all of the other cloud provider data so that you don't have to actually go and do all of that manual work, right? So we are very excited about being involved in that working group and can talk more about that offline as well. So now I'm going to introduce my colleague, Alfonso. He is the cost optimization lead and for product management.
Thank you, Rupa. Hello, everyone. I'm Alfonso Hernandez, and as Rupa mentioned, I lead the optimization pillar billing. And before we start, I would like you to tell me a little bit about you. So if you are the only person who manages cloud costs in your organization, can you raise your hand? Okay, 1, 2, 3, okay. If you are part of a small team that's just getting started, can you raise your hand? Okay. Thank you. Are you part of a big team, but not big enough? There's more to do. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. And finally, you are a well-oiled machine. Everything is working as you expect. And
Okay, there are no hands there. Very interesting. I guess that's why we're here at the conference, right? Cool.
okay, so thank you, everyone. I'll be talking about cost optimization. And I know you're thinking cost optimization, boy. But no, this will be anything but. I'll be talking about 5 cost optimization tools that we have out of the box in GCP. These are free to use, so anyone can go and use them in our billing console. So I'll be talking about our COD recommendations. This is the easiest way to identify and adopt COD commitment, use discount optimization opportunities. I'll be talking about COD analysis, which is a way to easily analyze graphically your committed use discounts. Cost optimization, as the name implies, a system mechanism for you to get those workloads estimated. Prioritize attribution, and finally, optimization overview. I'll go quite quickly, high level, but if you have questions, please hit us up. We will be here at the booth, so if you have any questions, we'll be happy to show you a demo or answer any questions. So with that, our first stop is COD recommendations. So let's say you are getting started. You don't know where you want to start, but you want to optimize cost. So the COD recommendations are a very easy way for you to get started. The engine automatically will identify opportunities where your on-demand usage can be converted to a commitment, and it will give you different options. By default, we offer 2 options. One is your optimal savings. It will go to the maximum you can save, and it will display in the recommendation itself how much you should commit to and how much will be your savings. From there, you can select whether you want 1 or 3 years, and all the numbers will automatically repopulate and recalculate. The other option is a more conservative option if you want to just cover your stable usage. That's the second algorithm we showed, and the same thing happens. You have 1 and 3 years to modify, you see the numbers, you have the 30 days graph so you can see your patterns. And this product, or this recommendation is available for multiple cloud services. We support GCE, Cloud SQL, Cloud Spanner, GKE Autopilot, Cloud Run, Memory Store, and VMware Engine. These recommendations are accessible through the UI, API, and through a BigQuery export. Now, today I'm very excited to announce that we are going to release 3 new features. They are rolling out starting today, and it will be available to all our users in the next couple of weeks. 1, flexible committed use discount. So flexible committed use discount is similar to your savings plans in the other hyperscalers. It allows you to move your resources and change between different resource families. These recommendations will now be enabled to understand your resource type, your committed use resource-based cuts, and your flexible cuts, and show you everything in one single pane. Second feature we are releasing is configuration. Some customers have told us they want another mechanism. They want to cover always 80% or 70% or whatever fits your business needs. So now we have configuration. You go into the recommendation configuration, set your threshold, and from there on, the engine will take care for those calculations for you. Every calculation will be at the 70% or the number you selected, and all the calculations, savings, and the commitment amount to do will be calculated for you. And finally, for those international customers, now the calculations will be in your local currency, so you can understand without that need to do any translation or any calculations. So that, as I said, these are rolling out today and available in the next couple of weeks for all our customers. So our second stop is committed use discount analysis. Say you bought a couple of cuts or commitments, and you want to make sure that you're saving, you're utilizing them. You want to answer questions like, how much is this cut helping me save? Or do I have more opportunities to go even further and optimize my costs through buying additional commitments? So this is the tool for you. Committed use discount analysis has a graphical view where you can see not daily averages of your usage, and this tool can help you go over very long periods of time, so you can see patterns. This is not 30 days or 60 days. We can go over 2 years of data, and you see those patterns and to help you make the right decision. Now, with this tool, we also offer hourly granularity, because perhaps during the day you have spiky behavior, and that's very difficult to spot. You just go, very difficult to spot in averages. So you go to the filter view, you select hourly granularity of your data, and then you will be able to see those spiky behaviors and optimize even further. Now, final product highlight of this, it supports local currencies. So if you have if your billing account is denominated in a currency that is not US dollar, you are also be able to see that in your local currency. As I said, the QR codes have more information, so you can scan them and you will go to see more details. And if you have any questions, I'll be here to answer them. The next stop, cost optimization. So you have recommendations, you analyze, and you want to grow even further. Your business is growing and you want to deploy new workloads. But before that, you want to understand how much you will be spending. Cost estimation is a tool that allows you to get those accurate estimations for a hypothetical workloads, and it includes your negotiated pricing. So that's available through the UI for 2 products, GCE, Google Compute Engine, and Cloud Storage. And through API, we offer Cloud Storage, VPC, Cloud CDN, CDN Interconnect via, CDN Interconnect. All those available to both channels, UI and API. And as I mentioned, the important thing with this cost estimation tool that it considers your contractual pricing, so it will be accurate to your unique pricing considerations. Next stop is prioritize attribution. So we went through the journey, you have your cuts, and now you want to make sure that those savings and those fees are allocated to the right projects, to the right folders where you want to see those benefits. So with prioritize attribution directly in the UI, and the GIF is moving probably a little bit faster, but we have in the cut reports, you get your specific cut, you go to the right, and you set prioritize attribution. We will offer the option to select what projects and what percentages you want to allocate both your fees and your credits. This works for resource-based cuts, And this attribution will flow directly into your billing reports and your billing VQ export. So that attribution will be out of the box, ready for you, and you will see it in the right projects. And finally, another exciting news. So today I'm really, really excited to announce Optimization Overview. This is in private preview. So you see the QR code, you can sign up for this preview. And this is a single pane of glass to identify, adopt, and measure your cost optimization opportunities. Basically what we are doing here is getting all your usage and rate optimization opportunities across all your billing account into a single place. And we do it in 3 different ways. First, we offer you KPIs. The top section is the optimization summary, where you see we are tracking how much you have saved by applying these recommendations or these different optimization opportunities. We show you how many open or active opportunities you have to act on, and finally, the additional savings for acting on those recommendations. Underneath that, we have the potential savings by service. So those opportunities, we bucketize them into the different services we're using, whether it's Google Compute Engine, Cloud Run, GKE Autopilot, whatever the case may be. We represent that graphically, and from there you can navigate to that specific view where you have the similar information and you can drill down in that service level view. And finally, we hear from customers that sometimes it's a little bit difficult for them to understand where to go first. So we offer the top recommendations. This is the top 10 items that will help you save the most. So you can start directly from there, and that will be your highest savings highlighted for quick access. So as I mentioned, open in private review. You can sign up from today. And with that, I will pass the microphone to Patrick Sharma, our lead FinOps person from our professional services organization.
Awesome.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yep. Thank you, Alfonso. Okay, so I have a good news and a bad news. Let's start with the good news first. As Sarah, Rupa, and Alfonso mentioned, there is a lot of data that you can work with. Right? You can use it for insights optimization. You can do whatever from a visibility perspective. So that's good news. You have a lot of data to work with. The bad news is you have a lot of data to work with. And you really have to think about how do you slice and dice to make it meaningful. So my name is Patrick Sharma. As Alfonso mentioned, I lead cost optimization in our Cloud FinOps professional services practices. And a lot of focus that the team spent on is making the toolings available to our customers, but sometimes that doesn't cut the deal. So that's where data comes into the play, API comes into the play. So Sarah spoke about our Google Score methodology. Right? You have the tooling, but then you also have the data and API at the same time. So you can manage your spend at scale. We've seen customers not just use GCP, but other clouds. You may have hybrid clouds, things of those nature. So how do you marry all of this together and create a custom visualization on top of that? So that's where, when we think about actually applying FinOps, we see that all of this information can be gathered into a centralized data mart, right? So that's where we see the BigQuery billing export comes into the play, the recommender export comes into the play. You have information, cloud cost and usage information from other clouds. You have your marketing data, sales data. You have your forecasting, budgeting, you name it, right? You can plug in all of those data sources, and it just starts to become more interesting. You are not just visualizing your cloud cost, but you are now on the path to unit economics, unit metrics, right? That's what the white whale, the nirvana that JR kind of talked about during the keynote. So a lot of our customers tend to, one-click export into BigQuery. For those of you who do not know, BigQuery is massive serverless data warehousing from Google Cloud. And then you can plug in any visualization tool on top of it, right? So that's where the Looker Studio, Looker Pro comes into the play. Or you can have your own sets of visualization tool, right? Tableau, Power BI, or building your own custom tooling on top of it. So essentially, that's what the architecture would look like when you start to think about centralizing dashboard. Yesterday, I was actually listening to Palo Alto giving their speech, and They have somewhat similar data structure, and you may see this also from many other customers in terms of creating a centralized data mart. So you don't have to boil the ocean all at once. You have to think about what your use cases are, and let's start with crawl, walk, run, right? So the first often use case that you want to tackle is reporting. This is what I see most customers tend to focus on. From a reporting perspective, you start to look at what are your personas within the organization. Executives, finance, technology, right? Executives might want to look at things more high level, across clouds. What am I spending? What are my budgets? How am I doing in my partnership commit with my cloud providers? Things of those nature. Right? Whereas an app developer is like, hey, how is my app performing? If I'm making architectural changes, am I getting real-time feedback on whether I'm on the right track or not? And how does that cost influence, right? So you're not talking about cost optimization just yet. You are just giving real-time visibility into how their decisions are impacting cloud consumption. So that at least they know. Right? From a finance perspective, they might be looking at budgeting, forecasting, and how we are doing it from those standpoints. Now again, it's the same data, it's just sliced and diced differently. So next step is identifying the data sources. Maybe you start small, you start with BigQuery billing export, you start to build the cost and usage reporting, and then you grow from there. One other very powerful feature is tags and labeling. I don't feel like I need to go into too much details there. I think everyone understands the importance of that in terms of logically mapping your cost. That's where labeling and tagging is very powerful because it's right there in your BigQuery billing export, things of those nature. So let's look at walk, right? So walk is, okay, now that you have tackled one cloud provider, that's a GCP, now you start to think about, if you have multiple clouds, right, you start to think about harmonization. Harmonizing schema, harmonizing data, so making sure that compute on Google Cloud is equal to compute on AWS is equal to compute on Azure and so on and so forth, right? However many clouds you're using. So that's definitely the exercise that kind of comes into the play. But in order for the teams to get to that place, just understanding some of the basic terminologies like invoice date, usage date, what does it mean, net cost, gross cost, discounts, credits, what is it that you are actually reflecting to the dashboard? Like making sure that everyone is kind of speaking the same language within the organization, kind of nailing that basics, and then you start to think about harmonization on top of it. Next up is optimization that Alfonso just mentioned, right? So we have recommended export. You can actually ingest data signals at scale. Currently, I believe Google Cloud provides close to 15 different cost optimization signals. And you can actually ingest it, do all sorts of fancy stuff with it, right? In terms of what's my potential savings, what my realized savings are, by projects, what team needs to take what action, things of those nature. So listening to Palo Alto, and they have done something interesting, is connecting the recommended data directly to the Slack so that app teams are getting the notification of, this is an idle instance. Yes, I can shut down. No, I don't know. Or please keep the VM because it serves a business purpose, let's say disaster recovery. Things of those nature, right? So you can do all sorts of fancy stuff with it from an optimization perspective. Let's look at run. So run is where things start to get more interesting. You start to ingest your custom data sources. Forecasting. You may have your own financial forecasting model. You have the actuals coming from the cost and usage reporting. You can do side-by-side comparison on how you are doing. Oftentimes, we see customers tend to forecast at a very high level, cloud level. How am I doing from a cloud investment perspective? But then you start to go deeper, right? You start to go on a specific Google Cloud. You start to go within product lines of business, within specific applications. And that's where things start to get more interesting when you are having conversation with your app teams. So that's where the forecasting kind of comes into the play. Cost anomaly, yes, that's another one of the kind of predictive, proactive approaches that we've seen customers tend to use. A lot of algorithms that are in the market, some are using statistical modeling, some are using machine learning modeling, things of those nature. So you start to identify what those anomalies are, you fine-tune it over a period of time, and then you start to make sure that teams are actually now looking at this stuff. Right? And there is a reason why you start to think about these, rolling not all at once, because it may, like for example, just cost anomaly itself. One of the big feedback that we hear from a lot of customers is like, it's noisy. It's not actually helpful, right? So it's kind of a crawl, walk, run in and out of itself. Is how do you think about your model? How do you fine tune it? How do you make sure that you start from one specific team and then grow and scale it at scale from an organization perspective? So that's where the cost anomaly comes into play. And then as you have your forecasting, usage, cost and usage, utilization reporting, things of those nature in place, you can start to have interesting KPIs on top of it, right? You have I like to call it like the operational KPIs and then the business value metrics, right? The operational KPIs could be something as simple as, what's my cost per vCPU core, right? And you start to manage that by application. What does it look like in Google Cloud? What does it look like in other clouds, right? And as you start to think about committed use discounts, as you start to think about right sizing, what impact does it have from a unit metrics perspective? And you start to think about those decisions, right? So those are the operational KPIs. Could be cost per storage for terabyte stored, things of those nature. And then there is business value metrics, right? That's where it's like, okay, what's my unit cost per transaction? What's my unit cost per seat sold? What's my unit cost per product sold, right? Things of those nature, right? So that's where the marketing data, the sales data, augmenting it with your actual utilization data is kind of comes into the play. So easy, right? Simple. I don't know what people are talking about. Like, it's hard. It's crawl, walk, run. Simple. But yeah, I mean, when you start to think about unit metrics, that's where kind of the transaction goes over multiple different services, multiple different applications, and that's where things start to become a little bit more interesting, which is where kind of the concept of cost allocation comes into the play, how you think about shared services cost. And it's not going to be extremely clean all the time because, like from a Google Cloud perspective, yes, you can do labeling and tagging, but reality is you may not be able to do it at all components. There are still going to be a large amount of shared services costs. So kind of acknowledging the fact that, yes, that is going to be a challenge as we come out with more and more SKUs and more capabilities from a tagging and labeling perspective, but at the same time, from a business perspective, you all know how to kind of allocate your cost from a proportional perspective, allocation perspective, and things of those nature. So that's where you kind of see like things kind of come together from a crawl, walk, runs perspective. Something off the script. I see Peter Crenshaw here from UKG. I've heard you and your team have built some fabulous Looker dashboards. So definitely go talk to him if you want to learn more about that. I see Nash and Matan here from Credit Karma. Fortunately, I was able to see the custom UI tooling that the team is building. So definitely talk to them about like what kind of data sources that they are pulling, what is the custom solution that they have. They are building their own app, which is pretty cool. And then Christian, all the way from Argentina, Mercado Libre. I know you've done a lot of work in terms of harmonizing data across 4 different clouds, and how do you manage that at scale? So yeah, these guys know what they are doing. Definitely go talk to them after the session, or hit me up. Definitely would be good to have a glass of tequila at hand. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But yeah, I can talk about this stuff as well. But yeah. So one other thing is how do we start? And in each of these slides, we have a couple of links, and we'll figure out how to send it to the team. But we have our own templates. Right? We've seen customers use this information time and again for reporting use cases, for insights, cost optimization, so on and so forth. And we thought, okay, might as well create a head start, jump start template, open source it. Again, it's part of the DNA, so the team can actually just leverage those templates, fork from that, because it's not going to be very custom to what you need, but at least a good starting point. Right? So we have Looker Studio templates. We have the actual Looker templates, Looker Flow, Looker Platform. It's very hard, but you kind of get the point. So definitely use some of those templates that the team have built. And from a jumpstart perspective, it's easier. You just plug and play. You apply the BigQuery billing export recommender hub, and then it starts to flow in graphs, data, things of those nature. So yeah, that's all I had.
Yes, thank you.
All right, I'll pass it over to Sarah.
Awesome. So I think what we've talked about today has been pretty interesting. We have my product team. We service about 80% of the use cases within the billing console, and then we have this awesome partnership with Pathic and the PSO organization where we're servicing the 20% use cases that might be very specific to your organization. So again, we have in the console, and then we also have really rich data that you can apply and look at visualizations how you want to. So thank you very much, guys, for sharing a little bit about why billing is thrilling. And we wanted to take the remainder of the time here just to kind of get a feel from folks here within the room. We'll open it up for QA, but the first question, we actually wanted to ask everybody here, what do you think cloud billing actually looks like in 5 years? Have a think on that. And maybe what we'll do is I'll open it up actually to my esteemed colleagues here, and then we'll open it up to you guys and see what you guys think, because this is a pretty interesting topic, and I think there's a lot of interesting technologies right now in play as well that is changing the landscape. So who wants to answer this one first on the panel?
I'll take a stab.
Awesome.
Not enough time to think about it, but let's see. Well, first of all, in 5 years, billing will still be thrilling. I think we all agree that. But I think more along the lines of just making it extremely intuitive from a customer perspective, right? We try to build in more automation as customers would expect. You start to nudge folks in the right directions of like, hey, this is what you're missing, here's what we did for you in terms of optimizing your spend. I think kind of making it extremely easier, simpler, intuitive for teams to kind of adopt throughout the life cycle, right? More from a visibility perspective to optimization perspective. That's
I think that's a pretty good future. Alfonso?
Sure. I think Pathic covered it very well, but I think simplicity is key, being helpful to customers, and I think about proactiveness. When I think of 5 years from now, before something bad happens, we need to be proactive. I think automation, AI, those things will come into play to make these experiences more helpful to you, to our end users.
Yeah, I think you guys mostly covered it. I would say it's so important. We often talk about ensuring that engineers have accountability. That was the theme of FinOps X last year as well. But it's a lot about interoperability. How can you actually embed some of this insights and estimations and into your actual workflows as engineers? And we're seeing a lot of tools come out. I've learned a lot also in my brief time at this conference about how to actually, get data in real time so you can actually have actionable insights. So it's very interesting to see. I'm very excited about, the topics of sustainability. We have a great carbon estimator, carbon export that you can actually combine with our billing export as well that exists. But, how can we actually make that more top of mind? Sustainability is a big theme, even for our company itself. So I think there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm excited to also learn from this conference as well and meet a lot of you and talk about this.
Awesome. All right, so any ideas from the audience? Pete.
More provider-based console versus third-party.
Could
you repeat that into the mic?
Yes. He said more provider-based console versus 3P tooling, evolving that. Oh, we have a yes.
So, you want to?
Yes. So taking into account the FinOps life cycle, inform, operate, optimize, all throughout. You're speaking my language. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, front.
So more intelligent anomaly detection and notification that is able to escalate to different levels as needed?
Automatically.
Yes.
All right. I like that a lot as well. Anomaly detection that's able to escalate to the various levels automatically.
Yeah, myself, I'm thinking about mostly the application. It's going to be more simple because applications are going into more cloud native. So when it goes, there's going to be more per usage type of model instead of all the discounts and all will be eliminated. So I feel like a billing will be more simple, and then people will be more towards the vendor solution, cloud vendor solution, than building their own complicated.
Yeah, similar to what Pete was saying too, 100%. You know, it's funny, this talk is, billing is thrilling, but my boss and I were having a conversation and he said, no, Sarah, the next talk you have to give is how billing is boring. And this is what we're going to aim for in the future. So at the back. Yep. Yes, yes, I like that a lot. We have, I think there's a really great future for us to start, you know, there's a lot of investment that FinOps teams are doing to get to that unit economic metric. What if it was automatic at the, like you said, if your business is around building applications, you have that unit economic at the application level. I think that's pretty cool. Yes?
I hope the focus groups take off, like consolidated billing across cloud providers. And secondly, the delay in billing files is reduced from a day to an hour or something. That would be interesting.
Ah, so yes, I like that. Okay, so focus group takes off, check. And obviously the data just keeps coming faster and faster and faster. Yes.
I think the problem with cloud billing is like the large amount of data, like thousands plus SKUs. But it'd be great if Google can create Bill GPT, you know, where you just ask it, hey, I want to create a dashboard for my finance partner, or hey, here's a set of rules. Can you enforce them for quotas or whatever, right? So we're not really actually doing all of the stages. We can just ask Bill GPT.
I really love that idea, right? Like with the advent of generative AI, large language models, like being able to ask and get the information, and even taking it a bit further, right? Like if there is optimization, there is an autonomous robot that goes in, knock the doors, like there is optimization to make sure that you do it, right? Like, you know, taking that step further.
Yeah, I used to work at Intuit, and we had a slogan, taxes are done, not taxes software is great and you can use it and it's easy, but it's just done. It's the same thing with FinOps. It's like, FinOps is done. Let's just, you know, let's not actually go through the whole cycle.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, mine is no more labels and tags.
Ah, the end of labels and tags.
Yeah, so mine, I think, I'd like to see a harmonization between billing data and operational telemetry. So treating cost as a metric in the toolings that the engineers and the operators currently use today, instead of a dashboard or report that only finance or executives would actually look at.
So it's just coming with the operational data.
Exactly, like a VM metric, you get your cost metric and you can group it whatever you like.
Yep. Oh, we still have, one more idea at the side. And then that's it. I think we're going to wrap up.
I think, sorry, can you hear me? Yeah. One of your slides had, in Walk, it had BigQuery consolidation of data. I think it's a very arduous process to bring data into BigQuery from other clouds, and I don't think a lot of people want to do it. And so making the process of getting data out of BigQuery is also an arduous process. It's something that people really want to do. So are there any plans from GCP to do this in the near future?
So your question is around data ingestion and data extraction on the BigQuery and tooling around that. So I can't comment on the roadmap for the BigQuery team, but I do know that we are within the cloud billing team trying to make it easier from a data understanding the data and getting the data in a format that's easier to ingest through tools like Looker, but not necessarily, maybe that's not addressing exactly your question, which is like getting it out quicker. But I can take that, you can talk to me offline and we can ask the BigQuery PM team as well around that one. Awesome, okay, well thank you, I appreciate everybody. Come check us out at the booth.
Thanks for watching that session. I'm sitting here in San Diego right after FinOps X. We hope you join us next year here live 2024. In the meantime, please subscribe to the channel and join the community. Get involved, join the summits, get in a working group, and don't forget to get FinOps certified. Because next year here in San Diego for FinOps X, it's going to be twice as big. Come join the party. Come meet your people. Welcome home.